Welcome everyone to The Checkpoint. This is where we invite guests in all fields of K-entertainment like K-pop, dramas, movies, theater, style, health, and all sorts.
And today's guest is commercial film music video director Young-Wook Paik.
안녕하세요.
Hello.
Wow.
Wow.
Welcome to K-Ride.
Welcome to K-Ride. Can you please introduce yourself to our listeners?
Well, first of all, before I introduce myself, I
Okay.
think it's an honor being introduced by Kilogram and
Wow.
It's our honor
Thank you
to
so
have you
much.
here.
It's an honor to have you here. What are you talking about?
I know, right?
Xander. So you've already introduced me a little bit earlier, but I got my first shot in directing about 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
And I've been working in advertising for over 20 years now.
Wow, working in advertising for over 20 years now.
And,
You've been a director yourself for 10 years. Wow.
And I started as a copywriter and then later moved my way into becoming a director.
Oh, right. I understand you were like a PD, like in between.
yeah.
Yes, I
Before
saw.
that, I was a writer.
Yeah, you were doing
Right.
some like Outback commercials and
That was
a long
that's like
time
10
ago.
years ago already.
Right? I read some of your work.
Been a long way here. We have some messages here actually. Mildred say, welcome to K-Ride. Young-Wook Paik Nim. Thank you for coming to K-Ride. And this episode is going to be one of the most informative episode of K-Ride.
Ooh, that is right.
That's so
and that's just a
true.
little inside joke we have about informative being like
Right.
the best thing there is. Kitty Girl 140 says, 안녕하세요, Young-Wook Paik.
안녕하세요.
Welcome to K-Ride. Hope you will have fun here.
And Brian-
I'm already having fun.
Oh, thank you. Brian Harris said, director Wookie is in the house.
That is right. He is in the house. Well, we actually have a long introduction usually,
Right.
but we have the longest introduction so far. So
Right.
why don't you
All right.
briefly, introduce
I
Paik
know.
Young-Nim?
I feel like we need to have some, background music like the 수상 같은 음악, but of course we didn't prepare that.
전혀 아닙니다.
No, this is some flex time for, of course, 감독님. So he has made famous CF advertisements for fast food chain brands, airlines brands, coffee shops, electronics brand, and he also made several short films that made finals in San Diego
Oh, that's
Asia Film
right.
Festival, German's Regensburg Short Film Week, and Spain's Marbella Film Festival.
Wow. Well, his most recent short film, Scent or Yang, won Best Cinematography and Best Jury Prize at the Chungmuro Short Film Festival last year.
Wow.
It also made the official selection at the Silk Road International Film Festival in Ireland and Boston Sci-Fi Film Festival.
Woo, congratulations.
Wow.
Thank you.
So it's still being submitted to other festivals as we speak
As we
right
speak,
now.
it's still being submitted
Wow.
internationally and also in Korea.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank
These
you.
are big things.
Wow, and we have you here in the studio. It's such an honor, really.
Yeah, and he's actually made a lot of commercials. We said like hamburger, fast food chain brands, airline brand, but these are all huge brands, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Oh, 대단하다. Okay, so first question, we're going to start something very light. So your English name, you like to go with Wookie, right?
Well, I don't think it's more kind of
Wookie?
when I grew up abroad. A lot of my friends they couldn't pronounce Young-Wook.
Right.
So what was your name? Young-Wook, and they're like, what, Wook? And back then,
I
Star
see.
Wars was a very
Oh, yeah, Wookie the-
big,
oh,
the original Star Wars. Exactly. So they said, oh, Wookie? Oh, can I call you Wookie? And I said, oh, yeah, okay. And that's kind of how it got started.
That was my nickname when I was in high school too.
Why?
Oh,
Because
so
of
we're
this-
brothers now.
Yeah, we're brothers now. Because of this noise that I made.
Why?
When you
Wait,
got
at
me
first,
Wookie.
why did you make that sound when you were young?
I don't know. I wanted to be special like the others, okay?
Oh, so interesting. All right, so we're going to ask you a few more questions. You've really made a name for yourself in the visual arts industry. So how did it all start? Like, can you take us through your journey from being
Oh,
a
yeah.
copywriter days?
Because, like you said, you went from being a copywriter to a PD to now a director for 10 years. We want to know your life story.
I think it's I was always interested in film when I was growing up, but it was more as an audience. And as I kind of grew up and went to university, there were a lot of commercial directors that made their way into feature films. So I got kind of interested in advertising.
Right.
And the logical step was I kind of entered the advertising agency as a copywriter.
Oh, I see.
So I thought that was the shortcut of being a director, but the advertising agency is more of like an idea branch of creating ideas for commercials.
So it was different than you thought.
It wasn't production. It was more of planning. But I think the good thing is I got like a good 10-year training of planning and writing
that's
before
good.
becoming a director.
Right.
So I think everything has its ways of getting there.
That's a strong base then.
Yeah.
By the
Yeah.
way, speaking of university, you guess where I went for college? Korea University.
Yeah, we're kind of like arch enemies, right?
Are you guys
He's
arch
연-
enemies?
He's 연세대
Oh, man.
신문방송학과.
right.
I'm also from 신문방송학과, but in KU.
Wow.
So we are like
That's crazy.
romantic frenemies.
I think so. Both of you are kind of like we're like brothers from another mother.
Yeah, we are. huh?
Oh, that was so 재밌어
We
when I read
found we
that.
found a lot more connections. We
Right.
found a lot more in common in the first 4 minutes
Exactly.
already
But-
than we thought we would, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I must say, 연세, they really have really good 방송 style.
They do. Yeah,
really
they
have a
have
very
a good
strong
curriculum.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So, would you say you as a director, because you started in like the commercial scene, advertisement scene, are different because of that?
I would think because for commercials is a very disciplined craft. You really hone in your skills because you're trying to tell a message for the brand.
Right.
And the clients are very strict in how to kind of convey their visuals.
What kind of skills go in advertisement that is different from films?
I think for films, the whole destination is to really tell a good story. But for advertising, you eventually have to communicate the brand.
Oh, I see. You
So-
gotta get the brand out there.
Exactly. So you're still being a visual director, but the purpose is a bit different. Because if you cannot communicate the message of the brand, then you haven't really succeeded. So I think that's the big difference between advertising and film.
Right.
You know, I'm very curious. Did anybody
That's
tell you
really
that
cool.
you have a really nice voice?
Yeah,
by
you
the
have a
way?
really nice
Thank
voice.
you, thank you.
You have a
like,
radio
narrate-
voice.
I know exactly, right? While listening, I'm like, wow, 듣기 너무
It feels like
편하고,
it feels
very
like there's
nice.
3 hosts here, right?
I know exactly.
Like I said, I'm just honored because these two musicians are
Oh,
complimenting
no,
me.
no,
talking
no, no,
about?
no. Even Cherish Munryu here sent a message saying, Director Wookie, you have a beautiful voice.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Look at
감사합니다.
that. Emily Kim says, 안녕하세요, 킬라 산디 오랜만에 출첵해요. 영국 감독님, 안녕하세요. Welcome, welcome.
And she also
Emily,
added-
I think I know that Emily. 안녕하세요.
Really? Oh,
Emily
is that a
Kim.
Emily
She
you
told me
know?
that she'd be tuning in.
Hey, Emily.
And she was saying, 연고전 시작했네요. I'm like, 연고전 아니거든요. 고연전이거든요. Just kidding, Emily. We
I'm
love
not a
you
part
here.
of any of those schools, so I will step out.
Right. But I mean, you really have a good voice. Do you ever like narrate for your own production?
Oh yeah, do you ever do that?
Well, there was once when we had to kind of redo the voiceover, and the client didn't have the budget.
Right,
And
for a voice actor.
Well, actually, they did have the budget, but they wanted to kind of see how the different copy sounded like.
Okay.
And right now, we couldn't get a voice actor immediately, so I just went in
Oh, wow.
to record, and
You
they
could
said,
totally be a
I
voice
like that.
actor."
Let's put that on air.
You have a really good voice.
and you guys used it.
We used it.
Wow, that's really cool.
Right. So before we talk about your work, we want to know more about how you adapted so well in the competitive global advertising market. So because you were born in France, you grew up in several countries like Cameroon, Canada, India, Malaysia, and the US, and that's why your English is so good too, right?
Wow.
I don't know if my English is good, but thank you
Oh,
again.
it's really good.
It's very good. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Anyway, wow, you lived in a lot of places, it seems like. All over the world,
Right.
it seems
How did that
like.
happen?
My father was a diplomat, so I kind of followed him around since I was
I
young.
see.
And I grew up abroad, different places, Canada, India, Cameroon,
India?
Paris, and the U.S.
Oh,
And,
so
Okay.
many places.
So you were young when you were moving around like this,
That's
right?
right, that's
Ooh,
right.
Is there a place that you feel most like home except for Korea? Outside of
well,
Korea,
I,
outside of
I would
Korea.
say Canada actually.
Canada.
Canada.
Which part of Canada were you in?
I
Ottawa?
lived in Ottawa and
Oh, you
Montreal.
did? Oh, I guessed it right.
Ooh, friendly neighborhood.
Yeah, like the capitals, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know, like, living abroad in so many places, does this really kind of like prepare you well for inspiration or your ideology when production?
Absolutely. I think I mean you two are also artists, so I think it's great if you have experience in different culture because it really helps feed your kind of creative energy and food and
You're
mentality.
so right. And it
Right.
just widens your spectrum, I
Absolutely,
think.
yeah.
I think that has to do with, since I'm a writer, with languages too.
Right,
You know,
right.
you're a director, so you probably have to go and see like the scene. For me, it has to do a lot with languages because sometimes there's certain words that you just can't explain in Korean or English, you know?
Right, like 고소해. How do you say?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
고소해?
That's what I say all the time. But knowing the word like it just makes it a part of your world, you know,
Right.
already.
Exactly.
I mean, like you said, because I was watching Show Me the Money when you were performing. And the thing is, I have so much respect for rappers because they don't have time to write everything. For me, I have time.
Oh,
But you
yeah.
guys just really do it on the
I
fly.
think
I know, on the spot.
maximum like 4 days.
Yeah. But still.
Which is horrible.
Respect.
Thank you.
Anyway, some celebratory news. You joined the creative team of judges for the this year's Young Director Award. Congratulations!
Oh, yeah, I heard
Thank
about
you.
this.
Right.
Congratulations. So, how did you become a part of the jury alongside world-renowned creatives?
Well, so the Young Director Award, just to like a short introduction, is part of a award ceremony during the Cannes International Advertising Festival.
Cannes or
Yeah.
Cannes
Cannes.
for the Korean listeners out
And
there.
the Cannes this year was canceled because of the coronavirus.
Right.
However,
I
the
know.
award itself is a separate entity, and they're doing it online. And they have multiple people of judges internationally
I
from
see.
advertising, production, directors, a lot of people. And they wanted a director from Korea, Asia, who had done both commercials and short films.
That makes
the perfect
sense. And you're the
pick.
perfect candidate.
So I'm
Right.
actually the only Korean on the jury.
Wow. So you're the only one that
nice.
does advertisement like that and also films like in a professional level.
Well, I think a lot of directors try to do both, but I think they were just looking for diversity.
I see. That's really cool. That's humble too, right?
Right. Since we mentioned both like commercial directing and also film directing, so for you, which is more intriguing and what are the pros and cons of them?
Well, I think the pros and cons is for films, it just takes a long time to prepare. But at the end of the day, when you get it done, it has a long lifespan and you're telling a story.
Oh, you're right. Stories last a long
Right.
time.
With
definitely.
advertising, you're creating a very strong message for a brand visually, and it gets seen. Well, I mean, with films as well, it gets seen by a lot of people.
Right.
Because it's supposed to be like a trend, right?
That's right.
Almost,
That's
if you
right.
think about it.
And it's very short term, and you you have to kind of produce it in a very quick, kind of short amount of time.
Right.
But I wouldn't say there's pros and cons. I mean, I like them both. It's just that the discipline and the purpose is a bit different.
I see.
One serving the story, one serving the brand.
Right.
But I think with advertising, in a way, they kind of serve each other because with advertising, I get to kind of really sharpen my craft on how to shoot things.
like
and
angles and everything,
exactly.
right?
And
Because
that-
you have to really show off this product.
Absolutely. And I can use that when I'm doing films.
Oh.
So they kind of, rely on each other. So I wouldn't say what is better or not.
So I would say that I would think hearing that I would say that that's kind of like what makes you. I would think hearing that I would say that that's kind of like what makes you different as a director too.
Wow, the best
What
of
makes you
both
stand out
sides.
as a director?
Well, I always try, but we have to see.
Okay, so if this was your personal film,
Right,
say,
right.
What are some like characteristics that you would look for in the artist or the actor?
I think it's just one thing. How the ability to act. Yeah, the better actor.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait, what makes a better actor in the director's point of view?
Well, it depends on the script, but I think a better actor is someone who can do more than the page written.
Oh, I see.
So not just recite the words.
So tell a more intricate story than the script.
That's right. That's right. They could kind of show more emotion to the words that I've written.
Oh, wow.
And someone who surprises me.
Oh, that's
So-
cool. Someone who surprises
Right,
you.
right. So I like surprises. So that's what
Oh.
you look for when you're creating something.
Yeah.
Right.
Was there ever like a time when you were filming when an artist like that, when an actor or actress like that surprised you because of her acting or her actions while she was acting?
Well, a lot of times, like when we would be reciting a line, the actor would maybe change one word or a line, and I'd like that better.
oh wow.
I'd be like, oh, let's go with that. Yeah, forget what I wrote. Just let's go with
That's
that.
very nice of you because some traditional 감독님들 안돼 대본대로 해야지. You have to follow every single
is
word.
that so?
Yeah.
Some
I mean,
people,
he acts too. Yeah,
Right,
he,
right,
was-
right.
he acted a
Oh my
lot.
goodness.
So
No.
you would know.
No, but I mean, it really, every director has their own style. So I think that, those kind of directors also have the vision in their head for that film. For me, my film is, I would say, only 60% complete. The rest of the 50 or 40% is completed by the life that's given by the actors.
Oh man,
I like that.
That is art.
Yeah.
I like
So
that.
for me, I try to create a bigger sandbox for my actors to play in. So as long as they're playing in that sandbox, I'm fine. Whatever
Wow, you sound like a great director.
Oh, actually, I'll talk about it later more about the Daniel Haney thing. I'll talk about it later. But anyway, for you say that, hello, director Neem. What was your most memorable work?
Ooh.
Wow, this is interesting. 'Cause we
That's-
actually wanted to ask you about this.
they do. Well, it's like when you ask a director what's your most memorable work, it's like asking a parent, which sibling do you like? Which son or daughter do you like better?
You're kind of right.
But for me, I think if there's three maybe campaigns that for my reel is probably the I can't say the brand. Okay, there's a musical for a PR for a big company brand. I did a short film for an airliner, and then for one of the commercials that I did for a big burger brand, which
Burger
probably
brand.
everybody
The
knows.
M1.
Yeah, I
right?
know that one. Yes,
M1.
with Daniel, right? Henny, that is. Anyway, those were some of his memorable works. We are gonna be moving on now.
Right.
We're gonna be back with more of Paik Young-Wook 감독님 in hour number 2.
Right, so we're gonna play this song by Led Zeppelin, Rock and Roll. Is this also one of the inspired songs?
This is actually one of those songs that I listened to when I was shooting for the food brand.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. I can't say which food brand, but I wanted a more really kind of energetic kind of rock music kind of feel.
Okay.
Like when you're cooking the food kind of, So I listened to this a lot when I was storyboarding.
All right, I feel that energy. We're gonna go listen to it right now. We'll be right back.
Life is a jungle. Stay away from snakes. Not here to mumble my mistakes. Yeah. Hey K-Rangers, hop in for an adventure with Alexander and Kilograms every day at noon on K-Ride.
You're listening to K-Ride on TBS CFM, 101.3 in Seoul and surrounding areas, and 90.5 in Busan. I'm your driver, Kilograms.
And I'm a driver, Alexander. You can listen live with our updated mobile app, TBS EFM, available on Google Play Store or Apple iTunes.
All right, our chip-in question of the day is, do you guys know the famous hamburger commercial with the line, 니들이 개맛을 알아? Which actor said this line and made the ad an instant hit? Let us know. Sharp 1013 for 51 charge for a chance to win coffee worth 10,000 won.
And also share your Make It Personal hashtag My Right question. If Killa and Xander were in to be in a commercial, what products suit them best?
Yes, please let us know. We're going to continue back into the checkpoint with director Wookie or Paik Young-Wook 감독님.
Right. So earlier, before we finished part 2, we actually talked about the commercial, the Mac. That 광고 with Daniel Haney, right?
burger
How was
commercial.
it? The burger, right? You're loving it? Okay, this is not PPL, everyone.
No, it's not.
Right, so how was it working with him? Any like memorable? Because I watched the behind the scene clip actually. That was such a happy scene. It seems like you guys were enjoying so much.
Oh, yeah.
right?
You guys seem like good friends, too.
Well, I mean, I've known Daniel for more than 15 years now.
Oh, wow.
15 years?
I first met him when I was a copywriter for the advertising agency, and he was just an up and coming model.
Right.
So we had actually cast him for a certain digital camera brand. So that's when I first met him. And after he starred in that commercial, he suddenly his fame skyrocketed because he
Kim Samsoo.
Oh,
Kim
I
Samsoo,
see. The drama.
So then, after I became a director, I worked with him on 2 different brands. So one is a steak brand, and recently is the burger brand. So we kind of have that chemistry where I don't really need to give him every specific direction. And because we can kind of talk to each other, so while we're shooting, I would throw something at him, and he would be like, "Hey, Wookie, should I try that?" He's like, "Oh, let's do that," and then we'll just shoot it right away.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of like that chemistry that kind of has that energy, and that you can actually see it in the commercial.
Yeah,
when,
you
know, it
guys
comes
are
out.
a dynamic duo, huh?
Dynamic duo.
Yes.
Something like that.
찰떡 team, really. That's so good.
I love that chemistry. No wonder it did so well.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the steak brand you did while you were a PD still, right?
Oh no, that was
No?
when I was a director.
Oh, that was when you were a director.
It was
Wow.
like one of my first few gigs as soon as I became a director in the first 2-3 years.
Oh, how did that feel when you first kind of became a director yourself and started directing your own piece?
Well, I mean, it was great, and I think we shot in Australia back then.
Australia.
Daniel, yeah. And
Wow, for that steak brand.
for that steak brand. It was the first time that someone had gone abroad to shoot a food brand.
That is crazy.
and
restaurant.
it was just great. It was the first time that I was actually directing Daniel. So just we had a good camaraderie, and we had a lot of fun shooting.
재밌겠다, really.
Yeah, that does sound like fun. And Romy Yoongyung says, Hi Xander and Killa and 감독님. 감독님은 배우로 하여금 다른 인생을 연기하게 하는 게 아니고 그 안에 배우 자신도 담기게 하시네요.
아, 굉장히 큰 칭찬이네요.
Yeah. Well, this is what you said though. You always leave you make a big enough a sandbox.
Right.
And you let your actors act within that, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Put themselves in it.
Right.
Exactly. That's a very nice 배려심 also.
That is. I
Very,
love
very
that.
nice.
Letting them do their art too,
Exactly, right?
Cherish Monreal says, to director Wookie, do you leave a signature or distinction in your commercial so people can distinguish that the commercial is your work of art indeed?
Wow.
That's a good question.
Good question, really.
I don't intentionally leave a signature. However, what I do like to do is I like to shoot, a lot of times I like to shoot handheld.
Handheld.
What I mean by handheld is when, usually, when you're shooting with a camera, the camera is still.
Right.
But for me...
Like a chicken neck.
That's right. But I'd like to have my cameraman, my director of photography, always hold the camera. So they're always kind of not shaking it, but when for example, if I'm the cameraman and I'm shooting you guys, the camera is on my shoulder, but it's always on my shoulder, not on a
Right.
tripod. So it feels like someone is watching. It feels like a documentary.
Oh, I see.
I usually like to use the expression when the camera is breathing. So the camera is always slightly breathing.
Oh, cool.
So that's kind of like my style. I like to shoot handheld
I
style.
love that.
Oh my goodness.
I love
That's
that.
a very interesting one.
That
I
is
never thought
interesting.
about that,
And
right?
now that you think about it, like even outside, like the glass and everything, yeah,
Right.
you see that is what it feels like, right?
God.
When
Oh,
you watch his
Soibini,
work.
can you make the camera handheld right now? 'Cause I'm so yummy,
네, 솔비 씨 카메라 핸들드로 들고 들어오세요.
맞아요. 제가 되게
어디서 밖에서
맛있어
조종하고
보이니까
있어?
제가. I look so
Just
yummy.
kidding.
Just kidding. We're
Just kidding.
Yeah, joke aside.
Yeah,
It's really
wow, that's
amazing.
really cool. So that is a signature, I would definitely say. So
Right.
usually,
It's, I try to shoot handheld, but usually the cameraman always has a hard time because if you keep holding the camera, it's
All
very
day,
heavy on
right.
your shoulders.
Right, that's so true.
So usually the director of photography is like, who's the director for this? Oh, it's Wookie. Oh, okay, I gotta exercise.
허리 아프겠다.
if he's
Back
the camera 가감님.
Right. 가감님.
Right.
All right, so other than CFs, you're also making a name in film. So with two of your works receiving a lot of
Oh
praise.
yeah, we got to start
Right.
talking about this now.
Exactly. How do you feel about becoming finalists in international film festivals?
Wow.
I think for films, you don't go out intentionally to win awards. You just go out to just tell your story.
Right.
However, I think it's also with musicians as well, but you're there because you love the music. You're
Right.
there because you love the art.
You said you were a fan of watching films before you even got into the whole thing,
That's right. So my whole reward is actually telling that story, and so that people can watch. However, when you get recognized at award ceremonies, you kind of feel, how would you say, that I'm doing something good, that I'm doing something right.
I'm on the right track.
Right,
kind
that
of
I'm on the
feel,
right
right.
track, that I'm not wasting my time.
Exactly.
So that's what award are for me. You know?
Yeah, I get it. Like a checkpoint.
Right.
Like a checkpoint.
All right, that sounds great. So let's talk about these films that we were talking about just now.
Right.
So your short films, 한잔 and Seoul Tour, both revolve around the theme of relationship, 연애, and are based on true stories.
Partially based on true
Partially.
stories, but
Half nonfiction.
kind of, yes.
Kind of. Can you tell us a little bit more about, let's talk about 한잔 first.
Right.
Right. The plot of it. What is it about?
So it's basically about this guy who kind of, how would you say, tells this girl that he actually likes her, but kind of finds out that she's actually in love with someone else.
Oh no.
But that guy is actually his coworker.
Oh no.
So then he gets all mad and, kind of in this rage of kind of they both argue and one of them steps out. But there's kind of like this fantasy involved where, there's an alcohol elixir drink that turns back time 15 minutes.
Oh,
wow.
I
So-
need that.
So this whole situation happens again in a different way.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that's what the film is about. And I won't tell anymore because it would
No
be a spoiler.
spoiler.
Okay.
Yeah.
exactly.
Wow.
What about Seoul Tour then?
Soul Tour is more of a straightforward narrative about it's more of about two women. So it's about these group of friends who go out on a night after drinking. Everybody's a bit hungover.
Right.
So, and they're trying to get a friend back home,
Right.
but he's too drunk.
Uh-huh.
And
So they go on a tour of Seoul.
you've been through all this before, you know?
Right,
like,
right. That
everybody
happens.
happens. But anyway, so it's about what happens on their journey of taking this friend home.
Oh wow.
So that's why, hence Soul Tour.
That sounds like fun. Wow. Already these ideas make
I
it
know.
sound so interesting. So where can I see this?
You can actually see it on, there's a webpage with all my work on it, vimeo.com. That's vimeo.com/Wookie for everyone.
Wookie for
for
everyone
everyone.
without any underscores, without anything, just Wookie for everyone.
Wookie for everyone. So that's Wookie as in WOOKIE.
for everyone. Yes. Okay. Vimeo.com,
right.
Wookie for everyone.
I have to watch that one definitely.
Yeah, I want to see both of them, Hanjan and Seoul Tour.
Right. So for Hanja, actually, there was a very interesting thing there saying that, what you can't change more than fate is human nature. How did that come out to you?
Well, like I told you, this involves fantasy of, kind of turning back time. So obviously, people assume that if you go
Wow.
back in time, you can actually do something better.
Uh-huh.
But my whole philosophy is even
You're still the
though
same guy?
You're still the same guy. Your DNA doesn't change. You know what I mean? Things can maybe resolve a little bit differently. But at the end of the day, I think people would kind of make the same decision.
You still ain't gonna get the girls.
Right. I mean, it could be a
man.
spoiler if I say this, but I don't think it's a spoiler. It's more of the message.
Oh, right. I see. I get it. And we are taking a look at your Vimeo page right now.
Right, Vimeo.
And it looks like it has all your works kind of, organized up there.
Oh my God, this is perfect, especially
You can
since
scroll down, yeah. and
Yeah,
then you
scroll
can-
down and we can see all the works that you've done before.
wow.
So if you guys are curious right now, go check him out. Vimeo.com, Wookie for everyone.
Right, this is perfect. This weekend I got something to watch.
I know. That's going to be fun. Wow, that's a lot of works.
Right. Exactly. There were so many.
We're still going down.
I know. You did so many. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
You even did this Irish cream thing. Oh wow.
That's the coffee,
Coffee,
tasting
alcohol.
alcohol. I like that
Right,
one.
I like the way you guys tell the brand without mentioning the brand.
Even the steak one. Oh, so
Exactly.
that steak one was in Australia.
Wow, that
Outdoor.
does look like
Right.
it is, and not Korea, definitely.
Right, exactly.
Okay, those are some really cool works. We will be checking that out very soon. Let's talk a little bit more about his films.
Right. So I think most of the time do you use like famous quotes? Because I know that you use one from Vincent van Gogh. So is that how you get inspiration from quotes?
Well,
or-
I just use quotes because it kind of grabs people's attention.
Right.
And because it's a short film, you can only say so much. So just to have a famous quote kind of keeps the audience kind of like how would
Sets a
you
tone,
say?
maybe.
Oh, that's right. So kind of tuned in. Oh, okay, so this film is probably about this kind of a message or a philosophy. So usually you would use quote because it's a short film. It's kind of become a tradition for me.
Maybe it's like a highlight for the message that you want to tell.
Right. I mean, I think the amazing thing is for my first short film, 한잔, one shot, I used a quote by Professor Stephen Hawking.
Stephen Hawking.
Yeah, and I actually emailed his lab just to if I could use that quote.
Oh, wow.
And it's a famous quote, so I think I didn't even have to. But
Which
I
quote
still,
was it?
It's a long quote. So it's like I have noticed that over those I have noticed that even those who assert that everything is predestined and that we can change nothing about it still look both ways before they cross the street.
I think I kind of get it.
Right. So I sent them an email, and one of the assistants said, "Oh yeah, the professor says right on, you can use that quote."
Yeah.
So I kind of got
nice.
permission to use that.
Wow,
quote
that's really cool.
from Stephen Hawking.
Wow, that's amazing.
멋있다.
From Stephen Hawking.
Right. And for the movie's whole tour, so I heard that you also like to use a lot of handheld camera work for
That's
it,
right. Yeah.
Oh,
How
even
was
for your
it like?
films.
Well, I mean, Seoul tour is obviously Seoul tour. You're
Right.
touring Seoul. So, there are two things that I wanted to do. I wanted to show the relationship between the friends, but I also wanted to kind of show the night lights of Seoul.
Oh, wow.
Because I think Seoul at the night is very beautiful.
It is.
So I wanted to kind of show the colors in a way so that Seoul is also another fourth character of the film.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's so deep.
That is beautiful. And like you said, I think you probably noticed better because you lived in different places in your, earlier days of your life.
Right.
Because I'm from LA, I know how beautiful Seoul is at night.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
the
but
nightlight.
I don't think a lot of people know that here, right?
That's so nice that you could capture it.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's so
Right.
nice how you could capture that and show people how
Exactly.
beautiful it is.
Right. So, and for Seoul tour, so I believe that because there's a lot of like friends trying to go home, right?
Right.
So how important is the chemistry between the actors? Like, how do you cast them for this movie?
Well, I think for a film like Seoul Tour, where you have friends together, it really kind of you can't just have one actor being a good actor.
Oh,
You have to have multiple actors feeding off their chemistry.
I see.
So even if one actor is a good actor and if they can't act with the other actor,
주고받고.
네, 주고받는 게
Exactly.
없어요.
We
That's right.
understand this so well, right?
Right.
And that's why we think this chemistry right here is really good.
I know. Today is one of my easiest and most interesting interview
this
ever.
this is the most fun I'm having in a while.
So eventually at the end of the day, I would actually have to see them, watch them in a group.
And see how they interact with each other.
So just because one actor is individually a good actor, that doesn't mean I would cast them.
Wow, definitely this is what a director does, right?
Exactly. That reminds me of idol group. Doesn't mean that if one person could sing or dance, then it's already good enough. It has to be the whole
Even
canvas.
for
Exactly.
us,
Yeah,
when
no,
we're
that is exactly.
when we're interviewing, say, idols that are just kind of starting,
Right.
we kind of look at their chemistry too. If you think about it, we always say, "Oh, 얘네들은 잘 될 것 같다," or "Oh, 얘네들 좀 힘들 것 같다," based on their chemistry. I think, right?
Exactly.
How
That's
they
really,
interact
really
with each other,
important.
how
That's
they
really,
interact
really
with each other.
important.
If they look like they care about each other and there's love, if it
Right.
seems like it, then I think feel like, oh, it's gonna be a good team.
Right.
But when we kind of feel like, because we feel it too
We could
sometimes,
see
right?
it actually. I'm sure listeners can also know about it. Speaking of idols, so we heard that you also worked on music videos, which is also the next song we're going to talk about, Royal Pirates,
Music,
right?
oh, Royal Pirates.
Yes, Royal Pirates.
Wow,
They're
how
the
was
band,
it?
right?
Yeah, they're a band. Yeah.
Oh, I was at their show too. I opened up for them once.
Oh, really?
A long time
Really?
ago. Well, not opened up. I came in as a guest in the middle of their show.
Right.
Before they had the incident,
Right.
where they hurt their
Yeah,
hands.
yeah.
The bassist.
James. Yeah.
Right. So how was it like, that experience directing a music video?
Well, it was my first music video, and for me, like I said, I always like to tell stories. So the title of the track is "Love Toxic."
Love Toxic.
In
빠져.
Korean, 사랑에 빠져.
Right.
So it's about obviously falling in love,
Uh-huh.
but toxic love.
Toxic
no.
love.
So it's I kind of thought about, well, what do I know about toxic love, and so there was always the kind of like that setting with someone walking into a lounge bar or bar, seeing who's what's going on.
Right. Checking out the scenery.
Right. Yeah.
So is this inspired by your personal experience or no?
I don't know if it's my personal experience, but I think maybe a lot of the average Korean male may have related to it.
Cool. We have to check out the music video then.
Yeah, I kind of want to see the music video now too, but for now we can go listen to the song.
Right. This is Royal Pirates with 사랑에 빠져.
Oh, we got the video right here too. Oh yeah, I could totally see that music video was more of like a story than, like mouth lip syncing and, all of that.
It was elegant.
Yeah, I can see like a film director like style music video was like incorporated into that video.
Right.
I love it. But now I'm curious, watching all your works and talking about them, was there any commercial or film that you didn't direct that you were taken away by, like saying, wow, this is something different?
Right.
There was a commercial by a Taiwanese director. His name
Taiwanese?
is Wayne Peng.
Win Peng.
And he's just a stunningly visual director. I mean, his work is just, if you look at his work, it's art. So I think he's the only director that I know in the world who makes commercial as art.
Wow.
All the others is just commercial.
And I think coming from other artists,
Right.
I think that is the biggest compliment you can give another artist, right?
That's right. And so it's actually a commercial that he directed for a Taiwanese telecom brand.
Telecom
And I'm not going to
brand.
mention the brand because, but
Of course.
But it actually stars Takeshi Kaneshino, who in Korea is Kim Sung-moo.
금성무. My
Oh.
goodness. Yeah.
Wait,
I love
yeah,
that.
I
I
heard
watched
of
that
him.
one.
Yeah.
I watched that 광고 actually.
Yeah.
And then it's really everything is like very slow paced.
That's right.
Artistically focusing one by one.
Right. That's his style.
Wow.
I like how at the end the punchline was like, at the life is everything is so fast, but
Right.
your heart is slow.
Yeah.
Right.
Slow.
And that's his style. He's kind of slow, philosophical, and he's kind of a little bit, I can never imitate or follow him.
And
So-
that is a big thing.
Yeah.
And I can understand how you were taken away by that because you said that his work of commercial was a piece of art.
Right.
But that's so hard because usually for a commercial, it has to be the most mainstream. It has to be the most trendy.
Right.
It has to be,
Funny, punchlining.
exactly
Right.
memorable, but to put art in it.
Right.
That's
Right,
different,
exactly.
definitely.
So what about you yourself? What kind of director do you want to be remembered as?
oh, yeah.
personally?
That's a big question.
I kind of would like to say I want to be a director who kind of reminds people about the small things in life,
Small things in life.
because I think we're always living each day and we tend to kind of forget those.
Right.
So through my work, I want to remind people, and they're like, oh wait, there's that emotion. Oh wait, there's that joy.
Right.
So those are the things that I want to maybe have people take away from my films or.
Okay.
Being inspiring.
I think I can see how
commercials.
you're trying to draw that in
Right.
with stories like Soul Tour, which is very, if you think about it, if it wasn't for the COVID-19 daily, but it's not, I'm not saying it's going to happen every day, but it's
Right.
not something that's not going to happen on a
Right.
day in Seoul, you
Right.
know?
Exactly. So we're kind of running out of time, but we want to ask you any piece of advice for youth or young people who are dreaming of getting into film or advertising, directing, or anything.
Well, I usually like to say the 3 P's, which is patience, passion, and persistence.
Oh, wow.
Patience, passion,
And persistence.
Persistence.
Because I think usually people have this image where a director is always kind of directing something, but actually there's a lot of waiting time, there's a lot of planning time.
Exactly.
There's a lot of time where sometimes it doesn't work.
Oh, you're so right.
There's a lot of rejection.
Of course.
So you need to kind of like be prepared for that. And the only thing that still moves forward, even with all that failure, is passion.
All right.
So
passion.
I love that. I love that. Everyone go check out his work, Vimeo.com. Wookie for everyone.
Right. And any one last words for our listeners?
Yeah.
for
Any
today?
last words?
well, I mean, the times are times, so everybody, hopefully, please stay safe,
Yes,
stay
everyone.
healthy, and cherish life, and take care of one another.
Oh, this is so deep. I like it.
Thank you so much
Right.
for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
We've had a lot of fun and we've actually learned a lot too.
I know. Thank you so much for inspiring us a lot. And we're going to say goodbye to you with this song by Justin Hurwitz, Overture. So is this also one of his songs that inspired you?
This is a jazz track with no vocals, and I kind of listened to it a lot when I was preparing for the burger commercial.
I can kind of see the
Yeah,
vibe
that's right.
matching. All right, here is Justin Hurwitz Overture. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
joining
Thank
us
you.
today.
감사합니다. Thank you
Bye,
so much.
Wookie.